What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I'm super excited to give you guys my review of the Action Bronson collaboration with New Balance on this 990 V6 Lapis Lazuli. So this marks the second collaboration between Action Bronson and New Balance, which follows up their Baklava colorway, which released earlier this year. So both of the collaborations released a 990 V6, which is the latest iteration of New Balance's iconic 990 running shoe series. So Lapis Lazuli is of course the famous deep blue colored gemstone, which you can see is adopted on the colorway of this shoe. And these released on New Balance's website on June 30th for a price of $220 US or $285 here in Canada. The style code for this shoe is M990AC6 and the official colorway according to their website is Eclipse and Popcorn. Before we talk about the details of this shoe, here's a quick look at the box. So this comes in the exact same box as the Baklava colorway, so it's done in this light gray shade, and we have the New Balance logo on the top and this glossy finish. And then on the side of the box, this might be a bit difficult to see, but we have both Baklava and New Balance co-branding on the side, also done in a shiny finish too. And underneath the lid, we have this metallic blue finish along with a QR code, which when you scan it, directs you to Action Bronson and New Balance's Specializing in Life website. So diving into the details of this shoe, so this is the 990 V6, and the base layer of this colorway, this is constructed out of mesh in this dark blue tone. Right above this on the U-throw area of the shoe, we have this dark teal layer with the New Balance branding done in this reflective silver 3M. And then on the medial edge of the toe box, we have another 3M hit, and this is done in more of a royal blue tone. Overlaid on either side of the toe box, we have this perforated synthetic nubuck, which is again done in that teal color. And then wrapping around the front toe cap, we have this dark blue suede, and this layer of suede runs down the entire length of the shoe and it wraps around the back as well. Covering the eyelets, we have a lighter blue shade of suede, along with this teal colored synthetic layer which covers the middle eyelet. And then next to this, for the top two eyelets, we have another hit of teal, and in the middle we have more silver colored 3M. Underneath this on the mid panel, we have more of that dark blue colored mesh. And then stitched on top of this, we have this oversized New Balance end logo, which is also done in this reflective finish. And then next to this, moving downwards, we have another layer of silver reflective 3M, along with more dark blue mesh surrounding the top portion of the ankle collar area. And then beneath this, surrounding the bottom of the heel, we have more dark blue colored suede, and we have 990 branding pressed onto the lateral side only. On the middle of the heel, we have this synthetic light blue colored layer, and here you'll find the New Balance logo along with Made in USA branding. And then on the top of the heel, we have this purple colored mesh, which I really like because it really stands out and pops compared to the rest of the shoe. Moving on to the laces, so these only come with one lace option, there are no extra laces included. And channeling Action Bronson's New York roots, we have these rope style boot laces, which are done in a mix of gold and burgundy. Underneath this, the bottom half of the tongue is covered in the same mesh that we saw on the toe box and the sides of the shoe. But then the top of the tongue is covered in more of a tightly wound mesh, and then we have these overlays on top in this baby blue or powder blue color, and here we have Baklava 990 V6 branding. The back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe, this is covered in a gray colored mesh, and the 990 V6, the padding here is pretty thin, especially when you compare it to the overall bulk and size of the look of the shoe. And then as far as the insoles go, these come with a decently well padded foam insole. It's covered in black on the top, and pressed onto the heel we have Baklava and New Balance co-branding, which is done in this neon green tone. So the upper of the 990 V6 sits atop a very chunky and almost exaggerated looking midsole, which is constructed out of New Balance's fuel cell technology. So fuel cell is a technology that's commonly used on New Balance running shoes, and in this case they implemented it onto the V6, and it's painted in this vintage looking yellowed tone. However, in addition to fuel cell, to give the shoe a bit more stability and support, we also have an end cap wedge, which is painted in this bold blue color, and this surrounds the heel of the shoe. So end cap is a dual density foam setup consisting of a softer EVA core surrounded by a stiffer polyurethane rim, which helps to give the wearer a balance of comfort and support. And then as we turn the shoe over to the bottom, so this outsole is constructed out of a mix of gum brown colored rubber along with a semi-translucent teal colored rubber, which is found on the forefoot. So we have this wavy style traction pattern on it, along with these grooves to give you added flexibility. And in the middle of the heel, this yellow colored hit, this is actually exposed fuel cell foam, which is what the majority of the midsole is comprised out of. So that breaks down the look and the construction of these V6s, and for those wondering about sizing, to me these fit like most of my other 990 V6s, so I personally prefer to go a half size down, so I got these in a size 9.5. My foot measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side. However, I usually go down to a 9.5 in a lot of New Balance made in USA shoes, including the 992, 993, the 990 V3, V4, V5, and the V6. And in comparison, I usually stick true to size in other silhouettes like the 997, the 990 V2 because I find that those two models have a bit more of a narrow toe box, along with other models like the 2002R, the 1906R, and the 860 V2. So to put it simply, if you have a narrow or normal width foot, you should definitely go a half size down in these because to me they run a lot longer than, for example, a V3, V4, or V5. But if your feet are more on the wider side, you might want to stick true to size because straight out of the box, this area right here where the balls of your foot are, right before your toes, it feels pretty narrow and restricting. So based on my experience just from wearing my V6s a lot, over time and with more wear, they break in and accommodate the width of my feet, but it really comes down to how wide your feet are. If you think you have really wide feet, then I would not recommend going a half size down. And even if your feet aren't that wide, if you really don't like that snug fit around the toe box area, and you don't mind extra length in your shoes, then just stick true to size and you should be okay. Moving on to the comfort, so the 990 V6 is an extremely comfortable shoe, but it's very different from the past generations of the New Balance 990. So for example, the V5, it's a very stable shoe. You feel very supported and very locked in, whereas with the V6, because they incorporated a very chunky fuel cell midsole, it feels a lot softer, a lot more pillowy underfoot. But at the same time, the drawback is you lose a lot of ground feel and it feels a lot more unstable and wobbly. So if you're someone that likes more of that softer ride and you like more cushioning underfoot, then I think you'll love the V6. But if you're someone that likes to be a bit more stable with a bit more minimalistic cushioning, then I would probably stick to past generations of the 990 instead. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship, so first off, material quality I thought it was pretty solid. This pair is constructed out of a mix of genuine suede along with some synthetic layers as well. So the synthetic layers, they weren't anything special, but the genuine leathers that they used, they felt pretty good quality to the touch. And from a build and craftsmanship standpoint, it wasn't perfect, but I really had no major complaints. So there were some extra long threads throughout the upper that I had to trim off myself. However, it was pretty much free of glue stains, and I thought the paint job on the shoe was pretty solid as well, so I'd say that it's in line with a typical made in USA New Balance shoe. So with all that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet, I'll lace them up for you, and I'll show you guys how these look. When you compare this to his previous baklava colorway of the 990 V6, I think why a lot of people are drawn to this colorway more than the first one is because it's a lot easier to pull this off. This is a much more conservative looking colorway, and it's not going to break as many heads as the first colorway would. So I can understand why people like this colorway a bit more. For me though, I think both colorways are pretty wild, and if I'm gonna go wild, I might as well just go over the top. That's why I personally prefer the very first baklava colorway that they released. That's not to take anything away from this colorway though. Like I said, it's a lot easier to pull off, and honestly, I might wear this pair a little bit more than the first colorway, just because it pairs a lot easier with a lot of my clothing. But if I had to pick one only, I think I would let these ones go instead. And it looks like Action Bronson and New Balance aren't finished yet. I believe he was wearing his take on the 1906R silhouette, so unless those are limited to himself and his circle of friends and family, if I had to guess, I would expect that shoe to release also later on this year. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this Action Bronson New Balance 990 V6 and this Lapis Lazuli colorway? What are your thoughts on this pair? What are your thoughts on the colorway? Were you guys lucky? Did you manage to grab a pair for retail? Did you strike out and pick these up on resale? Or was it not your thing and you passed on them altogether? If you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on my Instagram page at esco8, follow my Twitter account at sean.go, and visit my website at seango.ca. So thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate your patience as you waited for me to put out this review. As I always say, your support and love means everything to me, so thank you for the continued support. And as we head into the second half of 2023, I'm excited to see what else the major brands have to release. So stay tuned to this channel for more reviews to come, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.